All right, guys, welcome back to school. All right, so for the rest of this week, we're going to do some reviewing from what we did from our packet. So if you want to have your packet out, you can. But again, make sure that you always have paper and pencil out when you're working on math. Make sure you're in a quiet space. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to first start off talking about solving variables and inequalities. So remember, when we are solving for either one, the objective is to get the variable by itself, because I want to figure out what the variable can be, okay? So remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other side. It's like a balance. If you remember, like the solve me mobiles that we did. All right, so if I look at this problem right here, I want it always, in order to get the variable by itself, I want this by itself. Remember, this is like my balance, okay? On one side, here's one side and the other. I have to do the same thing. So in order to get this by itself, I need to isolate, or I need to get rid of this part. So in order to do that, I'm always going to do the opposite. So the opposite of subtraction is to add. So I'm going to add 2.75 to both sides. Remember to line up those decimal places. I'm going to add it. Okay, this would cancel out, so I'm left with C equals, I'm going to add a 0 there, so that's 6.95, okay? Over here, again, I want to get the variable by itself, so I need to get rid of this part right here. In order to get rid of it, I'm going to do the opposite. So in this case, it's addition, so I'm going to subtract. Again, line up those decimal places, okay? This would cancel out, so I'm left with y equals, and at this point, I'm going to need to borrow, okay? So I cannot take 1 from 6, so I have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow from this. So that would be 5. Again, I cannot do that, so I have to borrow. So 8 is a 3, 1. Bring my decimal straight down, okay? All right, so on your paper, will you please do those two problems? Pause the video. Make sure, guys, when I tell you to pause the video, you are doing that. You are now in charge of your learning, so you have to do this, okay? All right, pause the video and come back when you have your answer. All right, check your work. Now, guys, you should be showing all of your work exactly like I'm doing, okay? And if you notice, guys, I'm doing the work too. So I'm not doing anything that I'm not giving you anything that I'm not doing myself, okay? All right, so let's go to the next one. So again, if we're doing multiplication division, it's the same thing. It's the opposite. I want to do the inverse operation, which is the opposite, to get rid of it. So I want to isolate, so I want to get the x by itself. So what is the opposite of multiplying by 7? I'm going to divide both sides by 7, divide by 7. So my 7's cancel out. I'm left with x equals 12. Okay. This, remember, if it looks like this is a division problem. If that messes you up, if you want to rewrite it and say x divided by 2 equals 8, you can do that, right? The opposite of dividing by 2 would be to multiply both sides by 2. So I'm left with x equals, and that is 16. Okay, you could always go back in and check. 16 divided by 2, yep, that's 8. Okay. All right, your problems. You have 2 problems. Oh, you have 4. Ha, you have 4 to do. All right, pause the video, write the problem down first, and then solve the problem. Okay, pause the video. All right, guys, check your answer. I didn't mean for this number 4 to not work out. Sorry about that. Don't worry about that one. And I didn't know these two would be 135. How cool is that? All right, so remember, for a video, if you don't understand something, you can go back and watch it again. You can go back and see. And I'm showing you every step that I'm making, so hopefully it makes sense. Along the way as we go, guys, I'm going to have, and I'll get this information to you, like a Google Meet or something like that, that we can, if you have questions, that you can come and talk to me, okay? All right, so now let's talk about, well, you've got 4 to do here by yourself, all right? So do these, pause the video and do these 4 problems. They are all of them together, all right? Pause the video and come back. All right, check those answers. All right. All right, so that is solving equations. So solving equations, you get an exact answer. All right, so now let's move on to inequality. So let's look and see if we understand the difference between an inequality. Okay, so this is an equation, has an equal sign. This is an inequality, it has an inequality sign, a greater than or less than. Okay, the only difference between these two problems is you're going to solve them the exact same way. I'm going to solve it, x and 2. I'm going to solve it, x and 2, but here's the difference. I'm going to bring down my sign. This is an equal sign. I'm going to bring down my sign. That's a greater than sign. So the only difference, you're still solving in the same exact way. The difference here is there is one answer. X has to be 2 in order for this to make sense. But over here, x can be any number greater than 2. Any number. If I put in 5, 5 plus 4 is 9. Yep, 9 is greater than 6. Oh, how about 15? 15 plus 4 is 19. Yep, greater than 6. So over here, I get a range of answers. Okay. With an inequality, I have a range or a set. You might hear that, a set of answers. But over here, when you have an equation is only one answer. Okay. But you're still solving in the same exact way, guys. Okay. So let's do a couple problems. All right, I will do these and then you can just watch. If you want to do them, you can do them along with me. So again, I'm going to isolate. I want the x by itself, so I'm going to subtract. I'm going to do the opposite. Okay. So I'm left with x is less than, and I solve it. I have to borrow here. That's 6 and 2. So x has to be any number less than 26. Any number less than 26 would make this statement true. So if I put in 1 here, that's 28. Yep, that's less than 53. But if I put in 100, 100 plus 27 is 127, which is not greater than 23. Okay, so this way tells me all of the numbers that is going to make it work. All right, let's go over here. Add 26 to both sides. So I'm left with z has to be greater than or equal to, solve that, 39. Okay, I'm going to forget that one. Those are the same. Let's see if I have some multiplication division ones here. I don't. Let me do one. Let me do just multiplication and division just really quick in case. I'll do these. Let's see if I had, so x divided by 3 is greater than 33. Okay. Oh, let's do it. Let's do a different problem. Is greater than 15. Okay. All right. The opposite of dividing by 3 would be to multiply by 3. So if I multiply by 3, I'm left with x has to be greater than, that would be 45. So any number greater than 45 would make this statement true. Okay. Same is true if I am multiplying. So let's say 7y is less than 14. Okay. Divide both sides by 7. Divide both sides by 7. I'm doing the opposite. So y would have to be less than 2. Any number less than 2 would make that true. Okay. All right. You have 4 questions for you to do. Okay. Pause the video. Make sure when you have your decimals, you're lining them up. And you're going to write an inequality at the end. So x has to be greater than something. Okay. All right. Pause the video and come back with your answers. Whoops, before you guys start, this should actually be p over 9. My fault there. That should be p over 9. Okay, sorry about that one. So p over 9, or p divided by 9, has to be less than 13. Okay. All right, check your work there. All right, so biggest takeaway here. So solving an equation and solving an inequality, you do it the exact same way. The only difference is the sign that you're going to bring down. Okay. All right, if you have any questions, email me, let me know, and I'm going to send you some work, some practice to work on with this. All right, guys, have a great day. I miss you.